Welcome into another episode of Discard for Magic. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron.
I'm the other host, James or Jexic, and today we're pretty excited to have on Majestic Onion to talk about the Cloaks.
Hi guys, happy to be here.
So Majestic, before we jump into the Cloaks, why don't you just give us a little backstory? Like, how did you find Summoner Wars?
It's kind of a weird one. I started playing it over the board only, like as a kid, with just sort of family and a couple friends. I'm not actually sure how I found it. I remember it being a YouTuber mentioned it in passing or something, and kind of looked up from there and was like, oh, it seems like an interesting game with like different factions and stuff. So I played not loads of it over the board because it's more me bugging family to play it, and then never really got into the online at all for first edition.
Oh, so it was back with first edition, yeah.
Yes, yeah. I never played the online, which I hear is probably a good thing. The meta kind of online sounded a bit interesting. And then I think second edition kind of fixed a lot of that. Just kind of got back into it a bit later on. I played quite a lot of it online, as you guys have heard, I think, from some of the episodes now.
What got you to start second edition? Because I know you didn't start it right away, or at least you didn't start online right away. You came a little later.
I think I bought the master set pretty early on, but then kind of saw the online. I think I downloaded the kind of trial when they did with the like cave goblins and breakers. Played that a couple times, but then I don't know, just never really got into the online. I think I started when the storm goblins came out, and I think that was the first faction that I'd saw that was like, that looks really weird compared to any in first edition. I joined online, obviously went through the new player thing of getting stomped for a while. Don't know, then just kind of stuck with it and played it a lot since and enjoyed it a lot more. The app's a lot better than the old app was. I think kind of stuck with it because a lot of the factions do a lot of kind of strange things that first edition really had anything like, storm goblins or things like that. Cloaks as well. I don't know, I never really played much in the first edition, but second edition they're really, really fun, really tricky, lots to think about, kind of do everything well.
Did you have like favorite factions? Who'd you play the most in first edition?
Ooh, probably Guild Dwarves. And then Filth I played a lot of. So when obviously they got announced as coming back out, that was a big one. And then Deep Dwarves as well I played a lot of. Hopefully they're coming back eventually. I think that's the last one we've not got, isn't it, from first edition?
Yeah, that's supposed to be the last one we're getting is Deep Dwarves.
I feel like it's made to be dark engineering or logic or whatever it is. It's got to be.
Guild Dwarves, a classic.
Yeah, and again, I think way more fun in the second edition. First edition, especially like Bolvi and his towers, where you just kind of built 4 towers and told them to come at you. It's a lot more fun being able to push stuff around and all their combos and stuff. But complicated one. They don't seem too popular. I don't know. I don't see a lot of people playing.
Second edition?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have played it much. Or...
I'm going to give you a little secret. I think just the nature of the fact that there are 30 factions means that no faction's that popular anymore.
Or is that?
When there's a new set that comes out, there's a possibility that 1 or 2 of them will be very popular for a while. But even Drakeson, I think in a couple seasons, it'll just be another faction, That's kind of what happened with Crimson Order, I think, and some of the others that just felt like you were playing them all the time. The fact that there's so many factions, if you just queue up a random game online, you can go a long time without facing a lot of stuff. There was just someone posting today saying like, "Oh, I played 150 games. I just faced my Swamp Orcs for the first time." I guess that's a thing,
Immediately queued a Swamp Orcs game after that to try and be like their second in 151. I was so ready for the message.
It's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. Mainly it's a good thing just that there is all that variety. It's tough for any one faction to really dominate the meta. Even we have stuff like the Filth or other things, or the Cloaks that people say, hey, this is the best faction. It's like, or one of the best, but you still don't face it every single game.
It's probably helped with some of the balance discussion as well, right? I think people were getting pretty... I don't know what the word is, annoyed maybe at some of the factions, but I think now that you see less of them, I think I know which faction we're talking about here.
Well, I mean, the one you might have missed when frogs were the biggest.
I had like the tail end of that season, I think. I played it twice, and then just every time I came up against frogs, just forfeited straight away. Like, oh wow, that's strong. The old fungal dwarves and the old polar dwarves as well, from what I hear. That sounded absolutely ridiculous.
The double ice ram.
And on summoners?
Yeah, on summoners, yeah. For a very brief period of time, it also worked against Sand Goblin Summoner. Push Krusk, it would trigger another ice ram.
Yep.
Because he was a structure. Because it used to work on other people's structures, too.
Oh. Is there a way you infinite off that? I don't know.
Pretty much. I mean, it hit into another structure that was also a unit. Like we say, it was like to fix Sandgoms, but I think it was really to make it so that the Forge could exist as a faction against the Polar Dwarves.
That would have been fun.
Yeah, people like to hate on the polar dwarves now, though. They've fallen out of favor. Nobody likes them.
Back to my general thing. I think there's so many factions. Unless you have someone like me who's being loud and obnoxious about loving the Wayfarers or something like that, they just kind of fall from the consciousness.
See, Wayfarer is the one I don't know. I can't get into them. I feel like they'd really suit me, but I just can't. They don't click. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about them today. Otherwise, I would go at length.
There's another episode for that one. I'll go back after and have a listen.
There was one with Nick. We had the designer and a strong player with them, both in one person with Nick.
Yep. Why don't we jump into the cloaks? If someone's just starting out with the cloaks, what would be your first couple of tips for them?
I guess the first tip is I think you're going to end up doing a lot of using the rewind button. And if your play needs Out of Shadows out, make sure it's out. That's one I do a lot. That's not very good. The other thing I think is, so the cloaks are really good at like lots of movement and trying to assassinate and things. And as a new player, it's kind of like the fun part of the deck, right? While you're learning them, a really good thing to do is kind of just every turn see if you could hit the enemy summoner or fully surround them, stuff like that. It's not necessarily the best thing to do every turn, but I think like doing it every turns probably gets you into like playing them well, if that makes sense. And I think one of the other things that kind of gets talked about a lot in the channel, you have the kind of assassination where you like blow them up in one turn, but you also have the getting the full surround on the summoner. And I think, Jack, that you called it checking them sort of thing.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need to take them out that turn, but if you kind of put them in a position where they're going to lose the next turn, that can be just as good.
And Vlox has 13 health. No idea why he has that much health. So he's like probably the best unit in your deck. You want to be copying something useful every turn, trying to get as many attacks with him as you can, I think. And we'll get into the cards, I guess, but like when you've got motor boots and machinists and you can attack twice every turn with him if you want, or you can attack and move and attack something else. Using Vlox is kind of key as well.
It's interesting because they sort of have that ability, like you were talking about, to assassinate at almost all times, but also they sort of have that ability to just poke and just dance around you for a long time also. So they can sort of do both depending on what their opponent's doing and what works better.
Yeah, so I think they're one of the most versatile decks, I think. And I think it's kind of the fact they can do all of it that makes them so strong. Playing poke for ages, they've got to come to you or just lose to gunners putting stuff in front of them all the time. And then once the summoner comes to you, you jump on them. Or you could do things like that comes into your hand sometimes and start crowding their gates. And then again, like you're crowding their gates, they've got to expose something eventually, and you jump on them and get the summoner. You know, being able to play all the different styles of them, like the range poke, the super aggressive, the assassination, and then like knowing when to switch between them as well is really useful.
I play quite a bit of them too, and the one thing I kind of think is like you just kind of take what your opponent gives you is the way I look at it. You know, like if they want to hang back, you can hang back, just shoot them, play the range game. But if they slip up, if they go a little bit too far, then you can kind of jump on them if you want to. It's ultimately kind of hard for them to play around everything you can do.
Yeah, I think there's always, like in trying to counter you doing one thing, they're going to give up something else, right? And then that's when you jump on the summoner or take all their summon spots.
I had a funny game recently where I was playing against Exile. I managed to beat him with the cloaks, but at a point where there's a point where he just retreated. You know, he just went to the other side of the board. I was deep in his territory. I had a deep gate, and he retreated. So you know what? I just had Sinsen out, and I had Vlox and Sinsen both just damage him and go back to my first row. If you're gonna retreat, I'll retreat harder. You know, it's like, because I was ahead on Magic at that point. So I'd made an aggressive push to kind of force him to do all these things to react. And then he just like pulled into the corner. I said, well, I'll pull into my corner and we'll see who can outlast you. And it worked out pretty well.
Did you win?
Yeah, I did win. Yeah.
That's a scary one.
Yeah, the only one I've probably beaten Exile recently. So
yeah, I play a lot against Exile, and it's.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yes, that was one thing that came up before this, is we found out you play probably more against Exile than all other players combined. So.
Yeah, I think I play more against him than most games people play.
Yeah.
I think I played a lot of Cloaks against him early. That's one he's well practiced against. I don't know. You've beaten him more than I am on him.
The one game. I'll retire now after that one win.
You should interview yourself for the Cloaks after that. It's being able to do all of them, right? Like you see you're ahead, like you say, and then you just pull everything back, force forward well. need tools to line things up in straight lines and stop them getting any good attacks off.
That's the other thing about, and we might get more into this later in the podcast, but that's the other thing about like checking your opponent or like surrounding them as cloaks. Even if Vlox ends up in a like not great situation, if you have like another Out of Shadows or a Moto Boots, like you have so many ways out of every situation. You can use a Simpson ability or a Bandit or like Moto Boots or like Out of Shadows or Gunner, or like there's so many different ways to get Vlox out of trouble.
I was gonna say it's like another beginner thing is I think you don't want to like intentionally go for the Sin and the Bandit thing too much. They're better as like either the last hit or two, or using it to get Vlox out of trouble rather than trying to win by walking Sin up the board every turn.
Mm-hmm.
With Vlox, like he has, like you said, he's got 13 health for some reason. Not many factions can do 13 damage in one turn. So if you can get a healthy Vlox next to your opponent's summoner without a shadows, it's usually not going to bite you. Especially like when you know there's certain factions that really can't do that much damage at once, like your polar dwarves or storm goblins and stuff like that. You just think, okay, there's almost no way this can backfire. I should do it, and you might be able to tell us more of which factions you think that is. The next question we typically ask is, are there any must-play units or units you always play? So we can kind of get into some card discussion.
There's a few almost must-plays, and then I think the one that is almost definitely play is Dagger, because it might be the best card in the game.
Question mark?
It's kind of crazy. She costs 4, has a lot of stats even for 4 magic, and then also has Sly and Backstab on top of it. Swap places with any 0-cost unit, which you've got a few of in the deck, plus can give that to Vlox. And then anytime she's close to the back row, she gets +2 attack on a unit. That's kind of ridiculous. It's a lot of damage. Even if you end up not using Backstab, there's things like, hit twice from one space. You can hit 3 times from one space as well by attacking with Dagger, then Sin or Bandit in, and then Vlox in after, or the other way around. She's probably must play. I hate discarding her. Try not to ever unless I'm absolutely desperate for magic. But yeah, I think it's up there as one of the best cards in the game.
I'm trying to remember if I discarded some Dagger. I feel like I have discarded Dagger recently, but I don't remember why. It might have been a case where like I just thought I'd never get behind or never get there, and I might have used it to play for Admiral, but it's very rare. Like the like I was saying somewhere is like I think the most common thing I do is like at the beginning of the game, job 1 is get to 4 magic. So you can at least threaten Dagger.
Yeah.
And even more magic isn't necessarily a problem, because like Dagger and Moto Boot at 5, Dagger, Moto Boot, and a Machinist at 7. Like it's okay to have, like you said, you can basically play all your cards. You don't really need to discard, and maybe we might differ in the way we like to play Cloaks that way, but that's something I think of, is that you can threaten a lot of things the more magic you have, and that starts with Dagger.
Especially then if you listen to like the Vekid one recently, and it was discard Y2 to get to 8. Same thing. I don't know if I would go as far as discard Dagger to get to 4. Once you're at 4, they've got to be scared of it, and even if you have discarded it, they've got to kind of respect it. Right?
But I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't discard Dagger. No.
I've never discarded Dagger, I think, though.
I mean, part of it is 4 magic makes her more playable, but also she's just so good.
I think the other two that are kind of must play are Out of Shadows and Motor Boots. Out of Shadows kind of goes well with Dagger. Hit something with a unit, and then another unit within 2 spaces. You can place it adjacent to the unit that you just attacked, assuming it's still alive. That's a really good way to get things behind or to the side. I think you'd normally end up playing at least 1. Ideally, you get 2 really good ones off every game. Again, if you discard one, they've got to be scared of it the entire time, almost as threatening. So you can use that for things like assassination plays. If you're going quite aggressive, it can be really good to put things into like wall spots behind units, things like that. Again, like there's more units that it kind of synergizes with, but it just lets you do so much movement. I think if you're going for an assassination, you want to be getting like 5 or 6 dice off with it for it to really, really be worth it. But it can be worth it just for positioning and stuff. That's a strong one. And again, it's part of the kind of mind games. I think Cloaks is a lot of giving them too much to think about, maybe. You're trying to like threaten everything and like say, then you just kind of take what they give you.
One of the things with Out of Shadows, you can get so many extra attacks with the Machinists if you have them well positioned to attacks in the move phase. So that can get you a lot of extra dice. It's easier to set up if you have like Moto Boots. But I've even used Out of Shadows defensively before. I used it defensively in Plaid Hat tournament against Dark Tommy's Drakeson. But I was in a backfoot game, and I used my first Out of Shadows just to kind of shore up Vlox's face, so Vlox didn't die from dragons, you know?
I've not really used it defensively that much, but yeah, I guess like you just sort of position everything around, especially so if you can like machinist attack in the move phase, it lets you put something the other side of another unit and then move after.
I think that's a big thing I was going to mention. Is like it's not that frequently, but like if you can look for like a chance to attack with machinist during the move phase to Out of Shadows, and then move a unit deeper in or somewhere, you know, somewhere they would not expect you to have a guy, you know, that can really be surprising and powerful at times.
With Gunner as well, where you can like Out of Shadow something behind a unit and then push it to further, because you can kind of do those abilities in either order. It's hard to talk about it while it's not like on the board, because you can do things in different orders. You can either put something behind and then push it, or you can push something into a place and then blindside something
even
else.
with the Gunner, one time I had the Admiral out and I had just so many attacks that I used cover fire to push something away and then blindside something else to that spot to hit them again.
But I've done that once, and it was incredible. You like dream 5 attacks off an Out of Shadows on your summoner. Oh.
It's just, yeah, it feels good when you do something that you feel like you've never done with the Cloaks before. They're always kind of like improvising in new ways, but that's a fun thing to look for. Yeah,
feels good to do it. I don't know how it feels to do it. On the other side.
Like I thought my summoner was fine at full health. Nope.
The worst is when you like pin them and then you drop a smoke bomb on top of it on like the crucial thing they need to take out, whether it's dagger, machinist with moto boots or something, and then their chance of like getting out of that situation just plummets.
The best feeling is like the smoke bombed machinist with the moto boots, because how do you ever get away from that?
Unless you got that auto damage.
Yeah, but some factions just don't. That game against Exile, I had a couple times where, I would just, or like you give them one target and then you throw a smoke bomb on it, and it's like, well, they'll just take inactivity, and you're fine with that too, or something. But it's like smoke bomb is an underrated event, and I guess we weren't talking about events yet, but now I did.
Put it down, they can't attack it. It's really good in a range game as well. So if you can, stack up a line of Vlox who's taken a gunner's ability, and then a gunner, and then a unit in front of that, and you smoke bomb that front unit, again, they kind of just have to either punch a gate for like a little bit of range dice, or there's not much they can do. So I think smoke bomb's really versatile as well. I think that's kind of just Cloaks overall. They kind of do everything.
Although we haven't talked about hand cannon. That's the last event.
Yeah, it can be good sometimes. It's probably the one I discard the most often. Used to be a lot better. I kind of remember that one with the old Super Vlox. But I think it's alright now. So gunners, it can be okay, but I think it's best on a sniper if you're going to use it in a super defensive game. Going for boots and a hand cannon on a sniper can sometimes be okay if you need it.
Yeah.
It just lets you keep Vlox super safe and still kind of get some value out of him.
Moto boots just pair well with the sniper's ability too, because you can still kind of move a decent distance or force a decent distance and still get that ability to work.
And then the same with Vlox as well, right? Like you can shoot through anything. And again, you can form those kind of like stacks of 3 units, and they can all attack through each other. And then you smoke bomb the front one again.
And I think the fact that snipers have 3 health compared to the gunners too also makes them a good hand cannon target, even if you don't have the smoke bomb. But I think that's the thing we were talking about. I was going to say with smoke bomb, it's kind of really cool, fun to use on like a 1 health unit when they don't have auto damage. It's like you finally started beating up my guy that has the moto boot and the hand cannon, and now I'll smoke bomb.
He's never gonna leave.
Done the opposite so many times where I forget auto damage exists. I get so excited, and then
and then they just summon a diver next to it or something.
Yeah, very sad immediately. So I guess that's all the events, right?
Yeah, that's all the events. We haven't talked as much about their commons except in passing. I mentioned Bandit maybe once, but yeah.
I think Bandit's super underrated. It costs 0 and it's usually a 2/3, so it gets plus 1 attack for every unit adjacent to the unit it's attacking. It's normally a 2/3 when you're attacking for 0, which is pretty good to start with. It can give its ability to Vlox. Without Shadows, you can very quickly get a lot of bandits all around one unit, and then suddenly they're hitting for 3 each. It's got its swap out ability as well, so if it's on the back line, you can place it on your own back line. So like you're saying, with the escape for Vlox. Yeah, I think they're just kind of great. Try to play all of them because it costs 0. They also make really good like meat shields with 3 health. It's like a mini parapet for a gunner. Yeah, I think they're great, and I'd probably try to play all of them unless you really, again, sort of really need the magic. And then gunner, which I just mentioned, so they're probably my favorite unit in the deck. They're just really good at giving you lots and lots of movement. So after they attack, they can push something 2 spaces that starts within 2 spaces. It's just loads and loads of movement. There's loads of stuff you can do. So you can cover like the front of that gunner with something tankier. Can be good for like spot stealing and things like that. So if you want to get on the front of their gate, or you want to get back on the front of your own gate, gunner can push stuff into the spot after killing something. As you can imagine, with Out of Shadows again, you can have units all over the place and kind of be launching all sorts at them. And then sniper we kind of mentioned, but it can attack through stuff. 2 range, it's not amazing normally. It's best used for kind of clearing up units rather than using it as your best kind of range unit. Once you put a hand cannon on it, it's pretty good, but 2 range you don't really want to be attacking with too much. And then machinist is probably the versatile, so it can attack twice. So it can attack in the move phase and then attack in the attack phase, which with motor boots, which actually like boost stuff around, you can get some absolutely ridiculous turns going where you're attacking like, I think the max you can do is 8 times in a turn. Because it's in move phase, you can do all sorts of weird stuff with Out of Shadows, and again, spot stealing is why I think they kind of have an underrated aggressive game. They're really good at like killing something in front of a wall and then jumping onto that spot after to stop them taking it back. Same with defensive, you can punch something and then run away with your machinist and hide him somewhere. The commons are just all really good. I think the whole deck's just really good. Are there any that you kind of don't think of that?
This goes to a general principle that I use a lot in the Wayfarers, but in general in Summon Wars, I think the worst common is the second one of the same one in your hand. So trying to like craft a hand to do something, you don't need 2 machinists most of the time, or you don't need 2 snipers definitely very often. That's kind of how I prioritize my discards. Is like, okay, I might even discard a second bandit if I also have Sinsin in my hand. It's like I don't want 2 bandits and Sinsin in my clogging 3 spaces in my hand kind of thing. That's just my thought, but again, you're a better Cloaks player than me, so I appreciate your input there too.
Yeah, I think you're right that their kind of best game is like staying super far away and just poking. I've tried it out a few times. I find that being aggressive in general is just less consistent. It could definitely work.
Yeah, the other thing I think that people don't always think about with machinists is like, yeah, they can attack twice, but they can also just move twice, which sometimes has value in its own, because there's games where I've like used machinists with Vlox and I'll attack both times with Vlox to a ranged target, and then I'll protect Vlox's HP by moving a machinist after he attacks in front of him.
They make a really good copy as well. I think I almost always copy with a machinist with Vlox turn 1. It lets you like move lots more stuff. So I think early on in where you don't need to be attacking 5 times a turn or whatever it is, I think it's really good for the movement and letting you reposition and stuff. But and yeah, as blockers, so you've got all that extra movement in the attack phase with like gunners being able to block stuff and machinists scooting into places. There's just a lot you can do with Cloaks, right?
Just 1 or 2 things.
Oh, I remember I was going to say a while back, we were saying that like Cloaks give your opponents too much to think about or something like that. And I think at least in the 45-minute games, like I haven't been dominating with them, and I think they almost give you too much to think about too. When you're just like, it's hard to be confident that you've come up with the best line a lot of the time, and like at least in like a quick time. I mean, maybe I need to just jam even more quick games with them, but yeah, I feel like in order to get the most out of them, you need a little bit of time to think.
I think at least you can see your hand, right? So they've got to think about all the same stuff, but they have no idea what you actually have in hand. Admiral as well. I don't think we've spoken about him at all. So he's one of the champions. He's like the most expensive card in the deck. Like it's 6 magic in the Cloaks deck. It's like a decent amount of percent of magic that the deck can spend. So I've been trying to play him more recently. So he gives you, is it like he can move 3 and then his attack doesn't count as an attack?
Right. He's got Swift and Relentless. Yeah, and both those abilities are good. And also you can copy him with Vlox then too. So
yeah, exactly. So in a range game, if you've got Admiral out and Vlox copying Admiral, you can attack 5 times at range, which is kind of the dream setup. I don't think it happens very often, but it's really good when it does. And he's got a lot of health as well. He's kind of hard to kill when he's staying far away.
Yeah, the other thing I'd point out too with him is that makes it hard to get the most value out of him is the fact that he does have Relentless. It's like, okay, my 4th attack is free, right? But then that means you also have to have 3 other units on top of your 6 cost guy. So he's kind of like, he's quite an investment. But when you get him, and you get him working, you can be really kind of shift the tide against some of those factions that you don't think you'd necessarily be able to beat. A brawling setup, you know what I mean? Like, if you're up against some other faction that hits pretty hard and throws a lot of dice, you can add Admiral and Machinist into the mix and be throwing just as many dice as those guys too.
Yeah, I think he's good when, again, like people are trying to like swarm you down and rush you as well. I try to get him out more, just because then you want as many attacks as possible. If you can get like some Machinists out, and suddenly you're able to like clear swarms really well. The main thing is that he costs so much magic that if you discard him, I don't know what you're going to spend all of your magic on.
And then you definitely got to play both Moto Boots and most of your Machinists and stuff like that. Yeah. So you've talked a lot about how you use Vlox and what you copy most often. I think we already kind of answered that one. So where do you think they are ranking wise out of the 30 factions in the game right now? What number would you think they are?
They're up there. If I said anything other than top 5, I think everyone would have disagreed with me. Before the last 2, I'd have said they were like top 3. I think Guild Dwarfs and Drake's are really strong, so I think they're up there, right? They're really, really good. And they've been nerfed recently, which makes it even funnier that they're still that good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're easily like S tier, one of the top factions about.
So do you think top 3 to 5 factions? I just wanted to make a bolder claim, but you're not, so okay.
I'd love to say top 1, but they're not. They're not.
Who would you think is top 1, in your opinion?
It's either the Filth or Guild Dwarfs.
Okay.
I think Guild Dwarfs maybe are the best.
That's an interesting take. Or it's just one that I think a lot of people haven't gotten to that level of playing Guild Dwarves yet to see it.
Yeah, they just do. They kind of, again, it's the same as with Cloaks, where they just have so many abilities and like weird timings and extra attacks. I think it's just really strong to be able to do things at different times to normal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So between Blueprints and Baldur's Gate, they have a lot of flexibility that way. But I found them personally hard to play and kind of clunky. But I have seen Baldur's Gate just wrecking in deck building, so I could see if you could leverage that and the other abilities they have to do things out of phase, they could be powerful.
How's it been in deck building? Have you broken it yet?
Cheez-Its probably has. Other people, like Cheez-Its and Snaug, run a lot of Baldur's Gate in deck building. I'm still just like stuck on trying to do whatever I want with Tundra Orcs. I don't experiment as much as some of the other players, so I think it definitely makes Shimmer Sea Fae pretty good too.
Oh, don't tell Exile that.
Well, this is one episode he'll probably listen to, so.
So the rework for Shimmer Sea is just add Baldur's Gate to their deck?
Yeah, just replace replace Wade In with Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, that would be a nightmare.
They have to buff them now that Exile didn't win the tournament, right? That was the rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to go as far. The top faction.
But you definitely think they're in the conversation.
Yeah, yeah. I don't see them. Well, like you said, we don't see any faction that much, right? But I don't think there's anyone who plays them like super high level.
That is kind of interesting. That I think that was kind of Ardebree's argument that they were not actually S tier. He just thought that they had a good return on playing them well, but he just didn't think that they were broken and that we never saw somebody breaking them on the ladder so much, you know? I think it's just because like the people who get obsessed with one faction for the most part haven't gotten to them or haven't decided to make them their faction, you know?
Yeah, I don't think any of the top players have picked them as like, oh, this is going to be the faction that Vexer wasn't a huge Cloaks player, and Donkey didn't play a ton of Cloaks, and Exile hasn't played Cloaks yet, so.
I wonder why it is. They seem like the kind of thing a top player would love, right? Like all the like extra movement and all the extra attack and the tricks. It kind of seems like it would be a.
I mean, they're the closest person to probably like maining them as like one of their top factions is probably Massimo or Ardebreeze, but Massimo is a little higher level than Ardebreeze. So maybe Massimo's the closest we have, the top.
Well, obviously Majestic Onions too, because I mean he's been up there too.
Yeah, for sure. But
the
thing with ranked is like Massimo doesn't really play ranked anymore. So
I think I've played Massimo once in ranked, and it was a bit of a jump scare. It was on Sand Goblins, and it was horrendous.
Terrifying. Another one of Massimo's factions.
Well, he'll usually play a bit when the new factions come out. He might not be playing the new factions, but when that first week or two, he'll usually play a bit more. I played some faction. I just got destroyed by his Phoenix Elves or something. I was like, what's going on?
It's like one of the few times that someone's done that like 1E thing of destroying their own unit and it being absolutely the correct play. Like I don't see it that much anymore. But then Massimo was doing it like every turn, and I was like, "Oh
Yep.
god,
Like with
what
Sand
is
Goblins.
this?" Yeah,
It's so annoying. I get to play Massimo this week, so it should be good.
For the league.
Yeah.
good luck.
Retro Conclave versus the Cave Goblins, so
That's such a weird.
Should be weird.
I haven't played mine
Yeah.
yet, but it seems weird.
should be a weird matchup.
At least he can't play keep away in that matchup, right? So
I mean,
Can't
Retro
play
Conclave kind of can, but against Cave Goblins, we'll see how that works.
Is that the decider for your league?
It might be. Massimo and Nestle are at 5-3, and I'm at 5-2 with one game left in play before those two. That could very well be the decider. It will actually decide some things. Depends a little bit on like if we split or like if I lose both, then it depends on Nestle as well. If I win both, I think I'm through no matter what. But if I lose one or two, then that opens things up. Lots of fun in Division 1.
So you say they're one of the top factions, possibly top 1 to 3 factions, definitely top 5. Like a lot of times we talk about like the matchups and things like that. Do you think it's just a general strength that makes them good, or do they have certain good matchups and bad matchups that, or a lack of bad matchups that kind of bring that out?
I think it's that they've always kind of got a chance, if that makes sense. So because they kind of do everything, you know, you're always in with a shot. It's a dice game, can always win that way. Or, you know, it doesn't. It takes a very small amount of something going wrong for the other person, and you can just like jump on the summoner and kill them. You kind of always got like that in the back pocket. I don't think they have any like terrible matchups, again, just because they can kind of do everything well. Weirdly, the one that comes to mind for me is Polar Dwarves. I think they really don't like structures that they can't like do all their tricks off.
Yeah, no gunner, no out of shadows. Yeah.
Yeah, so I found that one's a bit of a struggle sometimes. I don't know if it's I don't play it enough, or the other one they kind of struggle with is the Grove. It's just a lot of health to deal with. You know, between defenders having 5 health and the tree obviously having 20, the assassination threat kind of isn't there.
Yeah, it's like, okay, surround me and do 8 damage. I've still got 12 health.
Yeah. And then they're just going to uproot, take everything out. Vlox is on his own next to a tree that's just going to punch him every turn. So
Just get in position and snipe the tree every turn. Just one Vlox attack on the tree every turn for about 10 turns.
does it work?
I don't have enough games in it. I'm at 2-2 in it, but I feel like Vanguards is actually tougher than you would expect it to be.
Yeah, especially now. Again, it's just like a lot of health coming at you. Like Renewed Hope's really scary. You can get yourself surrounded. It's very hard to get out from that.
Also, protect in both those factions makes it difficult.
Yeah, it makes Out of Shadows really awkward
Yeah.
and very easy to forget about as well.
You have this great plan, and then, oh wait, there's a knight back there. So
Yeah, if it's not the first attack that's the one that matters with that, it's not good.
another one that it looks like my record isn't great against is Tundra Orcs, and I think it's just because it's a lot of beefiness to get through. But maybe I'm just not good enough at playing keep away against them. I don't know.
I think I'm probably positive into it, but I think someone was talking about this recently, that people just kind of see red and Primal Fury into the middle of the board. Cloaks absolutely love that when Grognak's just on his own, nothing around him. I think it would be harder against like a really, really top Tundra player. I don't think I've played it too much. Lost it once. It's hard to play keep away, and again, it's a lot of health to be throwing ranged dice at. I guess smashers, you know, take a lot of damage, but they just kind of trade well. Frost Shamans are pretty good. Most of the time it ends because Grognak does something absolutely ridiculous, and then you just surround him. I'm trying to think what other ones are difficult. Found Drakeson quite difficult. I don't really know why it's difficult. Everything just feels difficult against them for me.
Well, part of it might be the fact that Pyra Brimstone are almost always like attached at the hip, so it's very hard for them to get out of shadows because you're taking off one of the spots to either get to them, or like the back of them is blocked so dagger can't get in there. And
Yeah, it kind of feels like the like ranged pokey stuff should work really well against them. But then I guess they're good at just flying into your face and getting in there if they want to, or they can play a bit of keep away too.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's maybe just they're so new that still getting used to them. I could see it keep like getting better over time, but it's definitely one that comes to mind as being a bit of a struggle.
I mean, my game against them in the tournament was very close. Came down to like the final roll.
Yeah, I feel like it's actually like an even matchup, but that feels bad for the Cloaks because they're not used to even matchups. So,
All right.
That's my feeling. Well, because I'm at like 14-10 against them, and that's not that different than my normal record. I'm probably like a little over 50% with Cloaks.
I'm 7-2 against Drakeson, but I'm still moaning about it. So, yeah, this clearly is. Won't someone think of the Cloaks players? But
I think Filth can be a tough matchup.
I remember someone saying that they thought it was Cloaks favored, and I can kind of see why you'd think that. With like, you're really good at putting lots of dice all on one thing. But I think again, Filth are just one of those factions that are super strong, right? It could be close either way, probably.
Yeah, the game I played against the Filth in the tournament, I probably shouldn't have won, but I just dove in at a certain like 3 or 4 turns in. I was already so behind in like board state, and I was like, this is not going well for me. I'm like missing attacks. They're clearing out my entire board. I got nobody left, and then I just like dove straight in and went for the kill on Demagogue and got it in 2 turns. Because they had like 3 or 4 mutants on the board, and so all their mutants were already tied up. And so I knew I couldn't like die right away.
I think that's what I was saying about kind of that's what makes them kind of just good, is that you're behind, so you just say, oh well, I'm just going to launch stuff at them and hope it gets them in time, right? That you've kind of always got that chance at it. Flashy plays are fun, so go for them.
Looking at my records, trying to see if anything surprised me about things I'm bad against with the Cloaks. And one that came up was Savannah Elves and Phoenix Elves. I think Savannah Elves they don't give you many opportunities to surround him, you know what I mean? Because they're going to play pretty far back with Abuashi. And they can kind of poke pretty well with border archers and just sort of outvalue you potentially. I don't know.
I could see it being a close one with the poking. I think it's maybe a good one to try and get like up and in their face and summon everything. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's also kind of what Savannah Elves want you to do. And then you're staring at a double attacking.
Yeah, Phoenix Elves. I don't know why I'm 1-4 in that, but I am.
It feels like it should be super easy because 9 health is kind of the dream. It feels like you should be able to just blow up Maldaria.
Yeah, I think part of it is that she's always got something adjacent to her, though, so it makes it awkward to get Out of Shadows to get it next to her.
One thing that is really fun in that matchup is that Ember Mages only take 1 damage, so you can like guarantee that you'll be able to Out of Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen a few times where people have used it as like a protector in front, and then you that 2 health is not 2 health. You can definitely put something next to it.
Yeah, maybe I got to use the gunners more. You have a gunner hit something and then do the Out of Shadows cover fire
Push
trick.
them next. Yeah. So I think I found that's a good one to use there. The range game, I think, they probably favors Phoenix Elves. But yeah, once you're on top of Maldaria, I think you're living the dream. Breakers, I'm negative against.
That's a funny one because you think like, oh, I got to surround the summoner, but they can just take all your units back and hit you with them.
I don't think it's happened, but getting backstabbed by your own dagger's got to feel pretty bad.
That would be rough.
It's the most literal backstab of all time, right?
I have had we're talking about Drakeson. I have been killed by my own raised Lord Slayer in a situation like that.
I don't know. Breakers are strange. But again, not one I see a lot of. But I don't know. I guess they're just really good at range. They probably just fully outrange you, and then, like you say, when you get close, suddenly everything's hitting you instead of them.
What about one of the things that I struggle with sometimes as Cloaks rush factions, whether it's cave goblins or whether it's wayfarers or factions that can just get in there real quick, Drakeson a little bit, stuff like that. What do you think about that, and do you consider that like a weakness of the Cloaks?
Yeah, I was a little surprised. I think they kind of have the tools to deal with it. I could see if you were playing like a super pokey game and they get on top of you and all your gates really quick, game over. Gunner's really good, because it's one thing aggro wants to, or like aggressive decks want to do to you is steal your spots, right? But gunners can kind of shoot something and move something into that spot to take it back. You can get lots of extra attacks with Machinists, Admiral if you can ever get him out against Cave Goblin, and like Moto Boots is letting you attack twice with a Machinist. You're really good at cover fire to not expose too much. Smoke Bomb's pretty nice. Key probably I've found is to try and keep stuff on your own gate spots if you can, because then if they kill that unit, that suddenly becomes a Machinist that pops out and is hitting everything in the move phase or hitting something twice. If you're in control of your gate spots, you're kind of doing all right against a rush deck anyway, right? Bandit would be really good as well. If they're coming really kind of swarming all in one place, bandits are going to get lots and lots of dice. And then also the same thing as they probably want to be using their summoner. Look out for the opportunity to just jump at them, get on top of them, put them in check and take them out over 2 turns. Unless it sneaks, which is always very sad when he slides away. I find I struggle more with really good ranged factions, I think, rather than rush down. I think they've got the tools for it. I think there's all the extra attacks, all the extra movement.
It could just be a me issue, you know. I never discard enough, so
Yeah, say it, but discard more. Like I think if you can get to Admiral, it's great.
Speaking of discarding, if you want to get Admiral out or Dagger and get some magic, which cards do you usually discard for magic?
Ones I discard most often, you could probably guess it's hand cannon and snipers. You don't want to have loads and loads of snipers out. But I think everything apart from Dagger can be discarded, probably. Big part is having the threat, and the more magic you've got, definitely the scarier it gets for the other person. Probably ideally you do want to be at high magic. Chuck one of the hand cannons, they're not that good.
Chuck hand cannon, but probably keep almost all of your other events, I would think.
Yeah, they're all pretty good. Again, even if you end up chucking one, the other person doesn't know you discarded it, so they've still got to think about it.
One thing we didn't talk about too much is gates. Do you ever discard any of your gates? How do you place them, I guess, is another question, which we didn't touch on much. Are there matches where you try to get a deep gate to try to, pressure them, or do you just kind of do a more defensive style of gate?
Yeah, it's kind of a cop-out answer, right? But it depends what you're trying to do. So if you're trying to, you get on top of them, assassinate them, and win that way, you want to get a gate as far forward as you can. Like Vlox, again, he's got 13 health. Get him up there and placing gates. Try and make sure you've protected the gate that you're placing up top and don't just instantly lose it. And then again, the same, sometimes I'll place them on the back row. If I'm playing a range game, you don't want the other person taking cover in front of them. So I think it can kind of end up all over the place. I don't think I place the normal knights move in front gate that often with Cloaks, which is weird. I feel like that's kind of the go-to for a lot of factions, right?
Yeah.
Either it's not far enough forward or it's not far enough back, weirdly.
Considering you mentioned the gate on the back row, I have to maybe try that a little more.
It's really good when you want to play super ranged. I guess the other thing as well that's really good with the Cloaks gates is if the other person's got something next to a summon spot, again, it can suddenly becomes a Machinist. And Machinist now of Shadows in the move phase is pretty scary. Your gates probably scarier than most factions just because of that. But yeah, I think I discard them sometimes. The most of the time I end up regretting it. I like the back. I think you either want them super far back or super far forward.
I think the one nice thing where you're talking about using Machinists to move in the attack phase, have Vlox copy that, and that's a good way to get those deep gates, is use a Machinist to have them just run up there.
It's a really good copy as well if you've only got 2 good attacks, right? You just copy a Machinist and move something around. Most turn 1s I end up doing that, where he copies the Machinist and then you hope that you only need 2 attacks. And then Vlox is in a bit of a better position.
Well, any last minute tips or things you want to impart on the community for your Cloaks knowledge?
Yeah, I was going to say, don't keep units behind your summoner against Cloaks and let me jump at you. Everyone should let me get dagger hits. I think a big thing with them is you want to either play lots and lots of units or not many units. They're really good at stopping the other faction from getting really good attacks. So kind of think about how good your opponent's attacks are going to be, taking better attacks every turn than they are, and all the movement's really good at that, right? Or you go the opposite way and you play loads of units, so you've just got stuff everywhere to bounce off when you need to. Just really fun. So if something looks flashy, probably just go for it. Enjoy them.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the podcast to talk Cloaks with us.
That's good. Thanks for having me.
If you guys want to reach out to Onion with any tips, feel free to, or just find him in the queue. I mean, one of the top Cloaks players always in the queues each season, so.
Queue a lot of games as well, as you can probably imagine, so.
Just know that they train with exiles, so watch out.
Train with is a strong word. I get beat up by it.
Don't we all? Don't we all? This has been another episode of Discard for Magic, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.